Hello viewers, and welcome to the program Development Zone, where we celebrate achievers, unveil the core potential of our day nation, and to celebrate those that have contributed immensely to development of our country. Today, the program we're talking active housing, and our guest on the program today is architect Jibo Baaba Isabo. He's the chairman, CEO, Isabo Real Estate and Core Infrastructure Development Limited. He'll be unveiling to us how he has contributed towards the housing sector, the challenges and the way out. Sit back, relax, I'll be right back.
Jibo Real Estate and Core Infrastructure Development Company um, is one of the sister companies of Jibo Concepts and Designs Limited. Upon my graduation from school in 2005, and upon completion of my youth service, I had some dodgy experience with one or two estate firms, and after about 2-3 years, I rose up to the position of an assistant partner or associate partner, as the case may be. And we decided that it was time for us to have our own firm, since we had all the qualifications and certifications required after 3 years. So we decided to approach CAC for Jibo Concepts and Designs Limited. We registered that company in 2007, August to be precise. That should be about 17 years now. And after 2, 3, 4 years, we decided to open the Jibo Real Estate and Core Infrastructure Development Company as another arm of the business. What we do is we major in housing, architecture, construction, and core infrastructural development. Majorly, that's what we major on. Narrow down to 3 major challenges. One is the issue of availability of land. In as much as we know that in the FCT, the land tenure system is totally abolished by virtue of the Land Use Act, but we still have issues with having access to land for, mass housing or real estate development. It's been an issue over the years. The bureaucratic bottleneck, the timeline, it's quite enormous. So we actually having that issue as we speak. One. Secondly is the issue of finance. Funding of housing projects in this country, the mortgage system is in a state of comatose. Yes, the federal government has brought in 1 or 2 initiatives through the assistance of the Ministry of Finance. But even at that, I see that access to funding for housing projects have been the window is so narrow. That also has been a major problem for professionals within the built-up environment. Also, finally, the third one, it's affordability. The cost of building materials or the cost of erecting houses in this country is quite colossal. The real estate sector is such that it has a very huge capital outlay. 90%, I would say, of building materials we use are imported. I tell you, even as small as the reinforcements, that's the iron rods, we import them. That's to get the quality gauges and the right specifications. You have to import them because the ones that are locally produced are substandard. In fact, even the quarries where we have where we get our stone doors or granite or aggregate generally, they are not run by Nigerians. They are run basically by the Chinese, and they tend to charge us in dollars. So when you look at it, put all this together, how affordable are these houses we turn out? Over the years, people don't really have the kind of money to buy our houses, especially in the urban areas. Because, come to think of it, just a bungalow now, cost of construction, the estimated cost of construction for 3-bedroom bungalow now cannot be less than 60 million naira. How many people can afford that? That's excluding the cost of land. You get it? So this primarily 3 major reasons, 3 major issues I feel be leveled that are bedeviling the housing or the real estate sector. Finding a way out for me would be that we change our architecture. And changing our architecture would mean that uh, Nigerians need to get out of the mindset of having roofs that are standing up to 6 meters high. Some roofs are even higher than the main building. You know, the cost of the entire the roof members alone can actually take a house from the substructural level up to part of the superstructure. So when you look at it, we need to change our taste or our appetite for some kind of architecture. You know, that could be a panacea to this problem. Recently, we've been into this flat roof and all that, and people tend to shy away from it. You know, it shows the elegance here shows when you have a pitched roof that is sitting 6 meters, 7 meters taller than even the building itself. So I feel when we change this taste for our kind of architecture and localize our architecture, we'll go far. You know, housing for me, or professionally, uh, housing is has three major fundamental attributes. One, it must be aesthetically pleasing. Number two, it must be fire resistant. And number three, it must have proper ventilation and proper natural lighting. So talking about fire resistance, the hollow blocks we use compared to the bricks, which is made of clay. The bricks has a higher combustion level compared to the hollow blocks. You understand me? In the case of thermal insulation, the temperature from outside doesn't come in and the one inside doesn't escape out. The bricks blocks also have more of that thermal interchange. So when you look at it, it's just the feeling that why should I use bricks block? You understand me? As against the hollow block. You know, for me, I think if we change our taste, housing will become affordable and people would have good reach to it. Okay, land disputes generally, um, it's a recurring phenomenon. You definitely have lots of disputes. The disputes might arise by probably as a result of administrative errors from the municipal authorities, or as the case where um, the ministry or the FCTA and all that as relates to Abuja. There could be cases of double allocation. We had a time in this city when we had double allocations. AMAC would give you an allocation and FCDA will give you another. But thank God for one or two of the past ministers like Erufai and who harmonized the document. So land disputes would always come. There could be errors, human errors would come. Also, sometimes the coordinate and surveys can also give us. There was a case we had, we got coordinates for our surveyor. He got to site. It was supposed to be a district, and what we saw there was another district. You understand me? So many a times you have these errors. Then you also have land grabbers. You know, there are people who come who claim they are indigenes, who claim their fathers, this is an inheritance and all that. I wouldn't mention a tribe. There's a tribe that is very notorious for issues like this in the FCT. You know, they come and they try to, and they have sometimes the wherewithal to fight and muzzle up sympathy from one or two cronies or their syndicates. And before you know it, the new allocations are taken from you and you keep litigating and sometimes it ends up in chaos. So land disputes would always come, but I think if our institutions are well strengthened, we'll be able to combat these issues.
Thank you very much. What's your view on land relocation by FCD Minister?
Okay, this is a very dicey one, but perniciously, I would want to talk on this issue. Revocation, as it were, it's both legal and physical. There is the legal side of it and there's the physical side of it. I will not talk more on the legal side because I am not vast, but I will talk on the physical side. Now, for every city planning or for every form of layout you see within the FCT, there is a specific number of plots. There is a specific number of plots that comes out and the land use respectively. Now, when an allottee is allocated land for a purpose, let's say recreational, and decides to start building short-let apartments within it, the FCT minister or the FCTA or the municipal authority has the right to revoke such properties. Number two, let's pull out a little to the legal side. There's what we call the overriding public interest. If peradventure there are probably sewer lines, or probably there are maybe it's a floodplain, you get it. These things have an effect on the overriding public interest. So the government has the right to revoke such properties. But after revocation, there's always what we call reallocation. It might not be in the same district as you want, but there's a level of compensation that comes for such, But in the case of Abuja, lately people just feel the minister has been grabbing land and all that. If you look at it in-depthly, most of these properties either don't have genuine papers, they don't have approved layout plans or approved building plans. Most of them also, there's always a caveat, let me not forget, there's always a caveat on your COO specifying the kind of use that the allocation has been given for, and also the number of years you are supposed to have developed the property. Some people keep these properties for speculative reasons. You have allocations of 1980, 1981, 1982, and these properties are still empty. And there are people here who are ready to build. You get it? But they don't have access to land because some people are holding it. So for me, I think what the minister is doing, according to the books, is right. But of course, there could be one or two skirmishes, one or two issues, political issues. That doesn't really concern me. But professionally, revocation is allowed by law and allowed by fiscal planning. Also, once a revocation is done, you should expect some level of compensation or reallocation. Quackery for the real estate sector has been, we have been bedeviled by non-professionals. Let me use that word. The professionals who are supposed to be involved in the real estate sector are actually not active players. What do I mean? Majority of the estates we see within the FCT are either owned by businessmen or one or two people who were into this agency and all that and stumbled on the property and all that and claim to be professionals. They are not professionals within the built environment. And who are these professionals I'm talking about? One, the architects. Two, the civil structural engineers. Three, the MEP, that's mechanical, electrical engineers, service engineers. We also have the urban planners or city planners. We have the quantity surveyors, and we have the builders. These are supposed to be the team, you understand me, that makes up the real estate professionals. But you don't find them actively involved in this for very obvious reasons. One, there's a very huge capital outlay. You must be a businessman to be able to amass such kind of properties. Also, the deliverable time, it's quite, the latitude of time, it's quite extensive. Most professionals will not want to stay on just one project for a long time. Then also, there are always cases of irregularities in documentations. Professionals will always want to do things right. That's why you don't see most of us within the real estate sector. Now, narrowing to your question, because of the aforementioned issues, quacks would have to come in because the professionals themselves have not taken a hold of the sector. So quacks would come in because they also want to see what they can grab. You see, that was a case I had one day. Somebody who was just a mason on the side of a bricklayer. They started calling him an engineer, or somebody who is a supervisor who goes around with an architect or goes around with maybe a QS or something, start calling himself an engineer. He interpret drawings too, you know. But these issues have been there from time immemorial. I feel that we have regulators, we have the professional bodies. So basically, we have regulators who should go around these estates or construction sites to make sure that only certified professionals are allowed to man our construction sites. We've carved a niche for ourselves. I told you the number of years we've been in this sector. And we don't do mass housing, basically. We don't do mass housing. There are very many areas, or very many subsets of real estate. You don't necessarily need to do mass housing. You can do 15, 20 units, you can do mini estates. There are people who also do commercial buildings. You get it? So we don't do basically mass housing. We do real estate in sectors where we have a target client or target willing off-takers or buyers, and we work with them directly. So affordability for me is relative. Our firm, Yisabo, it's a very unique brand. Why is it unique? From the top to the bottom, we have professionals and we do our things exclusively. Now, in our organization, we've been able to train with multinationals who've had lots of projects with one or two companies like Jibo and the likes of them. And we've been able to beef up our standards. We are professionals. We are not just normal regular agents who come into real estate. I'm an architect, I'm a city planner, and you can imagine what I bring to the table. We have a full team, so we dish out very good. We bake good houses, we deliver good houses. So I would say, for a fact, that our deliverables will speak for itself. Our deliverable will always speak for itself, and make sure that all our houses are to standard. All our houses, we have our motto, which is we build for posterity. So every house we build must last not less than 100 years at least. Yeah. So that for me, I think that's what we deliver, not less than 100 years. We talk about staff. We have the in staff and we have those who work on site. In staff, we have about 10 of us, and we are all professionals, ranging from the architects to the builders, all the professionals within the built environment. And on site, we have over 70 to 80 of our semi-formal or informal staff, which ranges from the plumbers, the bricklayers or masons, the carpenters, joineries, and also electricians, as the case may be. My name is Jibo, Baaba. I am obviously from my donation, you can say I'm from the northern part of Nigeria. I was born and bred here, although I've had one or two engagements abroad, partly schooled abroad also, but I will tell you, I am a full-fledged Nigerian. I'm a Nigerian to the teeth. I love my culture. I love my people. So I've seen over time the diversity of this country, thanks to the profession, thanks to what I do. My clients will say, come and build for me in my village. So we get to go to those villages and somehow I begin to speak their language. I can speak a little of Igbo, a little of Yoruba, a little of, So it's a good one. My kind of person and my job, I've been able to bring my skill and my talent together, you know, to help our, our tolerance. So I would say I'm a very tolerant person. I would say I'm a very calm person. I'm a professional to the teeth, anyways. I also have big plans and goals in life. And one of my plans and goals is to replicate myself, you know, other younger professionals. I'm a family man, a husband to one wife though. And I am also a goal getter. I'm a local prince. One day I will become an emir. I remember in my early years of practice, I had to travel to areas where I had to stay 3, 4 months. And those areas didn't even have an airport. So we had to drive by road. I had to go with some of my laborers, some of my colleagues. We go there and I'm off my family for this number of months. Sometimes I have to drive back fortnightly to go and all that. But it's better off now, at least we are more settled. We have people we can send to do some of these things, delegate this. But it's really not easy, I wouldn't lie to you, to be a professional in the built environment, especially one that is versatile and goes around interstates and all that. You need to deliberately create time for your family. I've been able to balance my because there's always a comeback. There's always a meeting point. I make sure weekends I slow down and have time for my family. We have the fun we can here. So I think it's a delicate balance. But early into the profession, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. But now I think we are more stable and we have two major offices. One is in Maitama, number three in Java Close in Maitama, and we have the other office, the Musaya River Expressway, plot 123, CRD Estate. So basically, either of these addresses, you will see us. And also, we have site offices scattered, you know. So it depends on what you want to see us for. If you want to meet us on site, we have a meeting on site. If you want to meet us in the office.
Welcome back. Now, we heard from our guest today, the MDC of Jibo Real Estate. He took our time to outline how he has contributed to the housing sector and also for patronage. Kindly visit their office. It's like, come here again. My name is Joseph Uzwakunubalijo. Bye for now.